everybody, I am so excited. Look what I've got. Yes. Okay. Brush-On Silicone Rubber. So I saw this on a few videos, but first time I saw it was a good couple of months ago, but it was showing as not available in the UK. I have seen it on another couple of videos since, but whenever I've searched for it, I've not been able to find it. I saw it on a video last week sometime, and they hadn't put a link to it. So I asked, because I assumed it had been sent to them from America, and no, they gave me the UK link. So I now have Brush-On Silicone. Yes! I have been wanting to try making a mould for this for a few weeks, but I was loath to use the traditional old silicone because, of course, that will end up with a lot of wasted silicone in the middle here. I'm guessing it would also make it extremely difficult to demould, because this would be the top, the open end, and so you've got to demould past that, then get this out of the opening. So it's been in my stash waiting for the opportunity, and now I have the opportunity. Okay, let's read these instructions. Weigh correctly. Oh no, it's by weight. No, my scales always turn off mid-weighing, especially when you're pouring slowly. Apply with brush, additional layers, demold. Yeah, pretty basic. A few minutes. Full cure, 10 to 15. Curing time will depend on size and thickness. Do not use UV resin. The resin will affect the curing of the silicone. Not suitable for large items. Well, I'm going to try it anyway. Ensure a flat surface. Tools used for mixing must be clean and free of water or oil. Scrape and mix thoroughly. Surface stickiness. The surface may feel slightly sticky, which is normal. If it persists, extend curing time. Wait an additional 1 to 3 days. Some guidance on silicone poisoning. Okay. Right, I shall be back in a moment. Right guys, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. Right, so I've got myself some plastic sheeting down, sealed to my mat with some tape around the edge. And then I've also got some sticky back plastic here, which I have also, so sticky side up, so that when I put this on, it will stick. And then that's taped down as well. Right. I'm going to use 2 cups, because if my scales turn off mid-pour, particularly partially through pouring the bee, I will lose my swear word. So I'm going to do separate cups and then pour one into the other. So everything prepared, lids off bottles ready, so that as soon as I press this, I can start pouring, and that's less risk of it turning off. I don't know how much I'm going to need, so just for the sake of the risk of it turning off, I'm just going to be as quick as I can. And however much I pour A to, that's how much I'll pour B to. I'm not going to specifically weigh 20, 30, whatever. I'm not going to be that precise. Okay, so I've roughly aimed for 20. I've got 22. Just press on that a second. Yeah, B. Oh, Jesus. Come on. 22. Okay. And the only reason I'm using paper cups is because my plastic measuring cups are quite big. They fit something like 250 mils of resin in, so I didn't want to waste one of those for a small amount of silicone. And yeah, any other smaller plastic cups I've got, they've got ridges in the middle. Sorry, and the inside, so obviously there's the risk of not mixing properly. So I'm putting the A into the B, partially because the B's thicker. I thought it'd be easier to scrape out the A with it being thinner, but also my theory is, just like with resin, if I lose a bit of the A, there'll be more B in it, which if your measurement is going to be off, I would presume it's better to have more B than A. With my resin, I do actually quite often deliberately put an extra couple of mils of B in. I've never had a problem with curing. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't have to be exact, but if you are going to be off, you're best to be off with a couple of extra B. Now, this is really strange consistency. It's not like resin where you can see the streaks inside, see the cloudiness. This just looks like not super glue, PVA glue. So it said you need to try and have it mixed up within 3 minutes. Otherwise there is a risk of it curing in the cup, because the total cure time is only 10 to 15 minutes. I guess that's why it says it's no good for larger projects, but as far as I'm concerned, you can add more on. I'll see why I won't be able to do, for example, the inside of this cup, and then if needs be, mix up another batch to go on the outside of the cup, as long as I join them over at the top so that it seals the gap. I don't see why that would be a problem. I really don't know if it's mixed up enough yet or not, but I think I'm going to have to just start going for it now. These are dessert tubs, by the way. It was a 3-pack of gelato desserts. I do not intend to use these, by the way, when I've made a mould, assuming that I'm successful in making a mould. I obviously want to cast them, but it will be ornamental. I don't intend to use them for drinking out of or making puddings into. It's really hard with these brushes, but Steve McDonald, I will link, he's done a couple of videos on these because he did his first one, and then for his second video he did that on purpose, I think to give a more detailed, more slowed down tutorial, because he had seen other YouTubers trying and failing with it and they were doing it wrong. So he explained that you do literally brush it on. Others were panicking and pouring it on and making a mess, and so he does it exactly as it says with the equipment that is provided, i.e. this silicone brush, and he has complete success with it. So I am going to trust the process and hope for the best. I should have put a glove on the other hand, shouldn't I, as well? I imagine if the process goes wrong, it'll be because it is set too quickly. Quickly throw another glove on. I might have to bring up his video actually and remind myself how he cleaned his brushes as well. This is getting really difficult to work with. I guess from that perspective, it could be a bit of a wasteful product, but it's not for large items, so it's just my own fault. Okay, oh shucks. That is not workable, that is not spreadable anymore. So let's get rid of that and that. Oh, good job, I've got plenty of paper cups. Okay, I'll be back with you when I'm ready to do another layer. Right, okay, so I've just rewatched one of Steve McDonald's videos, and he told us that the best way to clean this off is wait for it to cure and then literally just pull it off, because it's a different type of silicone that is the silicone that you're using than the silicone that the brush is made of, so it will not meld to the brush. And he appears to be correct. It is hard work though. Another thing that he said was if you're only using a small amount, you do not need to mix for 3 minutes. He mixed for only approximately 30 seconds. So when I do my next coat, I am going to only do 30 seconds as well. And then hopefully it will brush on a lot smoother than that, as well as I'll be able to get more coverage because I'll hopefully use it all before it's had a chance to set up in the cup. Whew, this is hard work. I can see what he means though, that it is coming off clean, or it will do. Okay, I shall put you on pause again while I finish cleaning this and mix up another batch. Okay, perfectly clean brush. Okay guys, so that project failed, so I'm not even going to bother with showing you that, but I'm determined to do a success with this resin. Actually, before I come on to that, I'm not blaming this brush-on silicone for the failure. I think it's just that that dessert container was just not a suitable shape. It was just too thin, so I couldn't get resin inside it. Silicone sticks to silicone, doesn't it? It's kind of sweaty, it sticks to itself. So I could not get resin into it. So that is the end of that, but I have satisfied a curiosity. I'm not down about it. I'm still excited that I have this brush-on silicone. So I have just pulled out a few bits, a few small, more suitable bits to make. So I've got this lovely cat statue. I have actually made a mould of this with traditional silicone, but I thought I would try it again with brush-on. As per my making sea creatures video, I've pulled out another turtle, and we'll see how good it is to make a turtle with this. And some little dinosaurs. That's an original because it's got the black eyes on it. And then a couple of my that I've made from the mould that I made. A couple of these fish and some of these flowers, which I'm not even tempted to try and mould those with traditional silicone. So just a little pack of flowers that I got from Temu. I just hope that because there's such a fast cure time on this and your working time is so short, I just hope that I can get all these done before it sets up too much. Okay, I shall come back to you in a moment. Make sure you get into the gaps. I'm a bit, where shall I hold it? Oh, I don't know. Oh, this is... it'll just have to stay where it is. If you enjoy seeing me struggle and you feel that you learn from my struggles, please help my channel out by smashing that like button. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button whilst you're down there. Thank you. Just the bottom of the underneath of the head here. I'm hoping these fish will be easier to do. In fact, right, that's become too difficult to work with now, so I'm going to change my gloves because they are way too sticky and mix up another batch. Okay, I've got another tip for you. This is the brush I used yesterday and which I just used. No, sorry, I didn't use this just now. This is the brush I used yesterday and I didn't clean it. And when I've come to try and clean it now, I'm just breaking bristles off. I've broken 2 off and I've partially broken a couple, and it is a nightmare to get off. So do not leave it to fully cure for a day, or even I don't know what would be the minimum time that you've left it too long. All I know is I've left it about 24 hours. This brush is the brush I just used, and so after it's just been left to cure for the 10 or 15 minutes, that's how easy it is to pull it off. You've got to obviously get in there a little bit and ruffle it up, you know, find a chunk to get hold of, but once you do, it's as easy as that. So although you're supposed to leave it to cure, so that I have ripped a thing off, but other than that it's pretty much good as new. So although you're supposed to leave it to cure to be able to clean it, don't leave it longer than necessary. Okay, my friends, these have had 3 coats, so I am going to have a go at demoulding them. I don't know how to start. I guess because the silicone is spread out so far, I need to peel from the edge. I don't want to break straight into it there and potentially tear it in an important place. So if I do it from a bit further away, we can always trim it up and neaten it up later. Oh dear, oh dear, dear, dear. Okay, so that's what it's looking like underneath. This side looks good, although I have ripped it there. Round here, I don't think I've got the definition of his. Oh, maybe I have actually. Yeah, the definition of where the neck leaves the surface. Here, I didn't get into the corner nicely there or there. Right, so I am going to fully demould him. I've got holes as well. Whilst I was putting that 3rd layer on, I was doing more dumping than brushing. And that reminded me, one of the things that Steve McDonald says was, for your 1st layer, you need to really thinly brush it on so you get into all the little nooks and crannies. The 2nd and 3rd layer is not as important. As long as that 1st layer has gone on really thinly and got into all the areas, then that's what will give you a defining shape. So the 3rd layer, I was sick of, quite frankly, wasting a lot of it, so I decided to just dump on more. The point being, with this one, it seems like I should have made more effort with the 1st layer. I might see if I can fix it. I mean, I guess I can always, hopefully, put him back in and then do another layer. Maybe use a silicone tool to actually, you know, fine-tune filling in that hole. Okay, kitty cat. That looks okay. The whole of the statue is covered. It just needs a bit of trimming up. But it's better to be over poured onto the statue than under poured like with the turtle, although I think it is it's got a bit of a weak point there. Right, I'm not going to attempt to demold this because the rest of it is looking really good. I am going to attempt to fix that hole there on that one. I'm really hopeful these fish have turned out okay because they're flat. They seem like such an easy shape. Hole there. Oh, actually, I think, yeah, I can see that there is resin at the edge of the piece there, but I don't know whether that hole there will affect pouring into it. So where that hole is, I think that would affect being able to pour to the depth of the rest of the fish. So I might have to, again, I'm not going to bother putting the fish back inside it, but I might be able to just use my silicone tool again to just dot a bit over it and create a barrier there. I'll just do one of each for you on camera. Overpaw would need trimming. Again, a hole there. Not sure how that will affect the paw. And these are so tiny, I don't think I'll be able to tell until I come to casting them anyway. But I do know these kept getting pushed about by the silicone brush, so they have got resin underneath them as well. So I'll have to cut it out. Let's just try another one of those with you on camera. There is a gap there that I might be able to, yeah, get it out from. So a bit of overpaw there. I'll have to I hope you can see, but yeah, I'll have to shape it a bit more there. Okay, so I shall see you later I will finish trying to demold these, do any repair jobs, and then we'll cast in them. So I'll see you for some actual resin work. Right, my thinking so far is this is more hassle than it's worth for such small items. I can totally appreciate that it is probably good and saves silicone for something like this cat statue, but for these tiny things I'd be better off just making a mould housing and using traditional silicone like I did on video 6 with these sea creatures. The hassle of trimming it up, plugging holes that I'd missed. Obviously the more I use it, the better I would get at getting the silicone into the tiny gaps, but for my first attempt it has been a lot of hassle to get it to the point where I feel that some of them are worth attempting casting in. So I've had to plug some holes on some of the moulds. I've had to prop them all up, as you can see here. And for just the sake of plugging holes, I didn't want to mix up a large amount. And my scales, you have to pour quite a lot before it even registers 1 gram. So rather than waste a lot, I took my chances on just taking a tiny scoop out, putting it into a tiny pot, one of these, and then with a different stick take another scoop out and mix that up, and just hope that it was the right ratio and that I mixed it correctly. And I don't think I did. This is still tacky. This hole I plugged here, still stick it, and it's been a good 10 minutes. But I'm going to go ahead and cast in them now. and hope that even though that those patches of silicone are still wet, that they will still act as a barrier to prevent leakage. But yeah, so far I'm thinking it's only good for decent sized statues like this, not tiny items like these, or as you've seen already, not for something like this that is very thin and is not going to allow any gap for the resin to get into. Okay, so I will mix up some resin and be back with you in a moment. So I've just mixed up some black. I just want a colour that will be extremely visible to show all of the features so we can check that it worked properly. And I seriously doubt these flowers are going to work anyway. They're so small, I doubt you'll even be able to get the resin into all the crevices. Just letting it dribble slowly into the tail so that it fills up, hopefully without bubbles. Because obviously the way to know whether a mould has worked is preferably to not have any bubbles, so that you know that if you have a bubble, you don't know whether it's just a bubble in the resin or whether it's been caused by a hole or an anomaly in your mould. And so also to think about is propping the moulds up like this. If you haven't got them level, they're going to overfill one side and underfill another side. So you need to try and make sure they are level. So I'm just going to briefly take that out and fatten it up a bit. I think this side needs either fattening or this side needs lowering, so easiest way will just be to just press down on these to make them smaller. My dinosaurs look so cute. Oh, you can see the eyes. They actually look like they could be cute if they work. Nice black roses. Right, everything looks, well, a couple of things could do with another little tiny top up. I am seeing leakage down here. Oh no. Let me see under this one. Oh, leakage under there. Right, okay. So it looks like this experiment is going to be a fail. Quite probably, again, for your first layer, get proper into all the gaps. The issue is to be mindful of it setting up too quickly in your cup, but I'd read the instructions that said you could you could need to mix up to 3 minutes. Then after the first layer, I saw Steve McDonald had said 30 seconds would be fine for the amount that he was using, which was similar to the amount I was using, I think. So if I'd have only stirred for 30 seconds in that first layer, it wouldn't have set up as quickly, and I could have maybe got into the gaps better with the brush. So then that would mean there's no holes in your first layer and no plug-in required. I'll maybe try them again. But anyway, I'll come back for demold and we can have a look together. So, as we said, I've got some leakage under the cat and under the turtle, but we haven't actually lost much depth. So when I locate the hole, I could perhaps just plug, or I could actually maybe put another layer of silicone on them before I demold them. But I do want to end this video with a demolding, and I really need to get this video finished so I can get on with the next project. So I think I will go ahead and demold, but the next time I cast in them, because you need something solid in there to be able to have them held solid while you do another coat of silicone. So the next time I cast in them, which will just be for my own purposes, not for video, then I'll use that opportunity to put another coat over them. So let's have a look at these. I don't know, come on, focus phone. I think I'll take you down again actually, and that way I can see better as to whether it's focusing. There we go. Just put you down a moment while I get another one. Yeah, very delicate. I'm almost pulling off the very bottom piece. So from where it goes thin there, I'm almost pulling them off. Okay. Oh, I've just noticed a hole in one of the turtles as well. Or there must be a hole because it's not full. But I think this is turning out, well, not necessarily better than I expected when I first decided to do the project. But once I realised I'd underestimated how careful you needed to be with the brush on and getting into all the nooks and crannies, then I came to think that it was quite complicated. So compared to how complicated I think it was partway through the project, I am really pleased with the outcome so far. So there we can see that's where it's leaked through on this dinosaur. And he has a leg missing, but his face has come out really cute. He's got 2 legs missing. Front left, no, hang on. That's one of the original, yeah. He's got, well, he's kind of got 3 legs missing actually, hasn't he? So that one's no good. That's not a demoulding issue. That's a problem with the mould. Okay, but this one, there's not been any leakage in that one, although it does look like one of his feet wasn't properly filled. So that one has come out good. And last dinosaur, and he has come out kind of good too. He's a bit overpoured on this side, so I don't know whether that's, I think that is a shape of the mould issue rather than a pouring issue. Just trying to get the mould back the right way. So this was the mould for him. So yeah, you can see on this side next to my thumb isn't shaped properly, but overall that would be trim offable. So overall, another successful dinosaur. Right, I'm going to put you back up here because I don't like keep putting you down on the table while I demould. I do want you to see the demould as well. So where was the leak in this one? I can't actually see where the leak are. Oh, I think it's from up here, and then it must have dribbled down, and then it's just gathered there. I can't actually see, but that's where the weak spot was on it. Sorry, off camera. Yeah, that's where the weak spot was. That's where I had to try and patch. So maybe it leaked up there and just dribbled down. Hopefully I'll be able to see the hole when I demold. Now then, oh, so there's a hole there. Have I just made that hole, or was that already there and I didn't see it to fill it? But also, why is my mold sticking to it? I know. Oh, maybe I don't know. Is that where there was some undercured silicone and so it's stuck to the resin? Right, so he's captured the shape of him good. On the original you can see that where it's paler and no pattern, that's what touches the surface, but then it angles upwards to show the flipper being up off the surface. So it's captured that. Obviously it's underfilled now because of the leakage, but if that wasn't underfilled you can still see the lines of where the flipper goes to leave the surface. So if that wasn't underfilled, that would be a good shape. And yes, he looks very detailed and very pretty. I can even see the eyes. I can distinguish the eyes from the other wrinkling patterns. So very happy with that. And the leakage from the cat. There. Okay. I'm really happy with that. In fact, the leakage resulting in underpour isn't even a problem because you could always just put another top coat. So if the leakage was happening down here, where it's now solid, and a top coat would just go there, it wouldn't leak back out, I don't even really need to fix that because I can just put a top coat. So I'm actually really happy with that. I've missed, oh, is that me missing a spot with the resin, or is it a hole, not a hole but a anomaly in the tail? No, that's me missing a spot with the resin. That looks like a complete tail. So I'm really happy with that as well. So overall, I'm really happy I've done this experiment. I think in terms of ease of use, for the sea creatures, I'll stick to the traditional. Oh, you know, turtles I could maybe do with this again, but for the fish and other very small pieces, I think I'll stick to traditional mould making. But I can definitely see the benefits of this. By the way, I'm not sponsored. I haven't got enough subs for that. I can definitely see the benefits of this for things like this. Once you get the practice of mixing it the minimal amount of time required so that you don't lose working time to get it on there while it's still very runny, or the runniest it can be, to get into all those nitty-gritty bits and pieces, and make sure that first layer especially gets everywhere. Another thing to bear in mind is it says save 3 times the silicone. So in other words, you'll save on a lot of silicone because you're not wasting silicone in the spare parts of a, you know, the empty parts of a mould housing. But that theory only works if you only mix up the amount you need, which is hard to judge, or you have something extra on standby in case you've mixed up too much. Because with every coat, every batch that I mixed up, I was wasting some because it got too hard in the, it either got too hard in the cup because I was taking too long putting the coats on, or I had coated everything and mixed up too much, but I didn't have anything else prepared. and it got too hard in the cup for me to think about looking for something else. So there are definite money saving benefits to it if you are prepared in advance and once you get the knack of doing it right. Okay, so that's another successful experiment completed. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed, who likes, who comments, and I hope you have a good week, and I hope that I will see you next week, where you never know what I might be doing, whether it'll be another experimental piece or something I'm more comfortable with. Right, thank you very much. Bye bye for now.